All right, let's talk about ideas. Have you ever felt like your brain is just a tangled mess of thoughts? Well, in this explainer, we're diving into a really cool framework called ecological formism. The whole idea is to use a simple but really powerful metaphor, a tree, to bring some serious order to that whole universe of thoughts. And really, this is the question, isn't it? How do you organize your growing body of ideas and creations? I mean, think about it. You've got notes everywhere, projects on the go, these random sparks of genius. How do you stop it all from becoming just chaos? It's a huge challenge, especially for, anyone who thinks for a living. So let's put a number on that problem. 42. For the creator of this framework, Oliver Ding, that question wasn't just theoretical, it was critical. He was staring down an absolute mountain of his own work. We're talking 42 book drafts, plus 38 different meta-frameworks he'd created. That number, 42, it's not just a number. It's the sheer scale of the problem he had to solve. How on earth do you find a pattern in all of that intellectual noise?
And his solution wasn't, to just create another complicated folder system. No way. He went deeper. He developed a whole new way of thinking. He planted a seed, this core idea or schema that would basically become the DNA for his entire knowledge system.
Okay, so this is it. This is the seed. It's a core schema built on 4 words that define 4 different levels of knowing: variant, quasi-invariant, invariant, and invariant set. And right about now, you're probably thinking, whoa, that sounds super academic and abstract. And you're not wrong. But trust me on this. Stick with me for one more slide, because this is where it all clicks into place and starts to make perfect sense. And boom, here we go. This is where it all comes together. The framework takes those abstract words and maps them directly onto the super intuitive metaphor of a tree. So the invariant, that's the seed, the core idea. The quasi-invariant, that's the trunk, the stable structure holding everything up. The variant? Well, that's all the branches and leaves, the different applications and expressions of that core idea. And the invariant set? That's the whole forest. It's the entire ecosystem where this tree of knowledge lives. So, once you have that sturdy trunk, it can support a huge, sprawling canopy of branches, right? Well, in ecological formalism, these branches have a name. They're called units of analysis. And wow, here they are, all 12 of them. Now, we're not going to do a deep dive into every single one, don't worry, but just look at the scope here. It covers everything from abstract things like concept and diagram all the way to really personal stuff like life self, and then out into the world with social landscape. Every single one of these is a rich, complex knowledge system that the creator has worked on for years. Okay, so looking at all 12 can feel a bit overwhelming, but you don't need to tackle the whole tree at once. To really get a feel for how powerful this is, you can just zoom in on 3 key units. Think of life, self, as our inner world. Then there's the thematic space, which is kind of like our mental playground for exploring ideas. And finally, social landscape, which is all about how we move and interact in the world. Just those 3 together give you an incredible framework for understanding your own place in the world. And what's so cool is that this really proves the tree metaphor, because the framework itself is a living thing. I mean, it didn't just pop into existence fully formed. Not at all. It started out with just 5 units back in late 2023. Then it grew, adding new branches like life and social landscape until it finally evolved into the complete 12-unit system we see today. It literally grew, just like a tree. All right, so a tree is more than just a trunk and branches, right? It needs roots to actually be strong and grounded. And this framework is exactly the same. This isn't just some abstract theory floating in the clouds. Let's dig in and see how ecological formalism is rooted in real, practical applications and tools that actually help create new knowledge. And one of the most important roots or tools that grew alongside this whole system is something called the weave basic form. The best way to think about it is like a special gardening tool designed specifically for this tree of knowledge. It's a really simple diagram that gives you a structure for exploring and, more importantly, generating new ideas inside the bigger system. So the relationship between the two is actually super simple, but really powerful. You've got the main framework, the tree, whose job is to organize all the existing knowledge. And then you have the weave form, the root tool, which is all about exploring and generating new knowledge. So one organizes, the other creates. They're a perfect team. Okay, so we've seen the seed, the trunk, the branches, and even the roots. We've looked at the whole tree. Now it's time to zoom all the way out and see the bigger picture, how this one incredible complex tree fits into the much wider intellectual forest.
And this quote from the creator, Oliver Ding, just nails it. Thus, it is not a 4x12 table, but a tree. This is the key takeaway. He's saying this whole thing isn't some rigid, static spreadsheet of concepts. No, it's a living, breathing, growing, interconnected organism of thought. It's a tree.
And that thought brings us perfectly to the final, highest level of the metaphor, the forest. The forest represents the entire ecological practice approach. It's the broader intellectual world where this one tree of knowledge lives and grows alongside other systems. It's such a powerful reminder, right? No single idea, no matter how big, exists in a vacuum. It's always part of a bigger, interconnected ecosystem.
So, at the end of the day, ecological formism is this incredible, elegant solution to one person's absolutely massive organizational challenge. And that brings us right back to where we started, back to you. When you look at your own world of projects, notes, and ideas, what would your tree of knowledge look like? What's your core seat? What's your trunk? What are your branches? It's a really powerful way to think about how we structure our own minds, isn't it?